Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Up to the Minute. I'm Sade Campbell, Strategic Enrollment Communications and Social Media Manager here at Houston Community College. Pleased to be joined by my co-host this week, Parrish Murphy.
Good morning, Parrish. What's old is new again, huh?
Indeed, indeed.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Well, let's kick things off like we always do and telling people how to find us.
Absolutely. We are live on Houston Community College District Facebook page. We're also on YouTube. We're on Twitter. We're on LinkedIn. And we're also on HCCTV Monday through Friday at noon, 5 and 10 p.m.
All right. Thank you so much, Parrish. Well, you know this, and many of our viewers do. Thursday is what? Family Fun Day.
Family Fun Day. Well, I'm here. I don't do nothing that's not fun.
You are absolutely right. Well, today we're learning about the visions of nature and myth from Rome and Pompeii for this Pompeii, I believe.
Pompeii.
Don't you feel like you need some Grey Poupon when you say that? Absolutely. And joining us to talk about that is Lindsay O'Connor, who's the Director of Education for the San Antonio Museum of Art and our Thursday Family Fun Day guest. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning. Happy to be here with you.
So happy to have you join us. You and Parrish are going to have a Pompeii conversation. I don't even know what that means or if that makes sense, but it's going to be excellent and fancy, I know. But first, we're going to do a deep dive of some critical thinking for students by going straight to the source. And that is Daniel Flores, who's a philosophy professor at our HCC Northwest College and a former director of the Honors College. Welcome back to the show, Dan.
Hi, glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, so happy to have you. Well, you know, when many people think of philosophy, they think of Socrates, Plato, which is very serious. And when I think of it, I think back to college, and I'm not taking classes that don't have right answers. That's just too stressful for me. That was at least my thought pattern then, which are both, but it's always just like a very serious topic, but maybe not serious money making. That was really the running theme of whether or not somebody chose philosophy as a major. But I think now when we really think about what people are thinking about the value of college, it's like really important to help people understand how they can apply these skill sets, these academic skill sets into the real world. So let's kick off with telling us a little bit about logic as a math credit and why philosophy majors are really successful at it.
Yeah. So, you know, when you study logic, particularly formal logic, you're studying the structure of human reasoning to a certain extent. And that structure is formal and it's governed by certain sort of rational principles, we say. And as it turns out, those principles affect, you know, most of what we do as human beings. As a matter of fact, during the latter part of the 19th century and the first part of the 20th century, there was a lot of effort by philosophers and mathematicians to discover the logical basis of mathematics itself. So when you understand logic, when you understand some of these principles, you get a better understanding for how, you know, mathematics works. I mean, formal logic is a form of calculus, after all. And our students tend to do better in mathematics when they study formal logic. It's just kind of a fact of the operation of the formality of what we're doing. So I don't remember when, but relatively recently, the students are able to take our 2303, Philosophy 2303 Logic course as a math credit. It's also really helpful for students who are oftentimes they're afraid of mathematics. You know, there's a lot of formalism and symbols and so on and so forth. A lot of students actually have what's called dyscalculia. It's when your brain sort of switches numbers or you don't see numbers properly. And you can get the benefits of, you know, logical and mathematical reasoning by taking formal logic. So there's sort of all sorts of reasons why a student might actually study logic, not to mention the final benefit of understanding principles of reason themselves. It actually makes you a better reasoner.
Yeah.
If those skills don't transfer to any job, then I don't know what is going to.
Well, you know what? That is incredible. I never would have thought that. What's the name of that class again that students can take as a math credit, the philosophy class?
It's PHIL 2303, Introduction, Symbolic Logic.
That's incredible. And I think that's something that even our advisors should know when they're advising students who may have had math anxiety or coming in after maybe struggling in a math class and looking if they have a different alternative. So I think we definitely need to get the word out about that.
That's why I'm here.
If you did one thing today, it was definitely that. So as a degree, as a major, reason and logic, and if I think about just the current climate in America, to be able, I think a lot of people are searching for language. They're searching for the ability to be able to process that information and feel like they can articulate really what they are feeling and to cut through the noise of everything that is going on. So that reason and that logic definitely is a desirable skill set in just like personal growth areas, understanding what is going on, external factors. But in addition to in the professional arena, I would have to assume, just based on our conversation, that philosophy is becoming a more desirable major. But what are the skill sets can a student expect to garner that they be able to take into their next season?
Right. To go back to a point you just made, just before I answer this, the philosophy department at HCC actually just became its own official autonomous department this semester. For years, we were part of the English as a program. We were part of the English department. Then we became our own department, but with humanities and library sciences. But we actually have enough students that have been enrolling in our classes to such a degree that we were actually able to be our own official department with just philosophers. And so, to your point, the interest in philosophy and what philosophy does for us as human beings has been increasing. So I just wanted to emphasize that point. It's a really important point, and it's good for HCC and our community. As far as what you get, what does philosophy do for you, like sort of more particularly? It makes you smart. It makes you really smart. You learn a lot of stuff when you study philosophy. You study logic, you study ethics, you study the history of ideas. And when we read a lot, we write a lot, and we teach you how to write in sort of formal ways and be analytic. We research, we form arguments, and not that other disciplines don't do this, they certainly do. But traditionally, it's been the philosophers and philosophy departments that really hone in on the essences of these skills. And yeah, it's a really, really powerful tool. As a matter of fact, it's one of the best things that you can do for yourself is to study philosophy. If you're not going to be a major, I would suggest being a minor. It will increase all of the mental skills that we have. Makes you very desirable as an employee, as a job prospect, right? The communication skills that we learn how to speak orally, we learn how to present your ideas clearly and efficiently. I can go on and on. I don't want to.
I feel that in your spirit. I feel you are real passionate about it. I feel like you need a shirt that just says philosophy makes you smarter, kind of sum that up. And you've given like incredible reasons around the value of it and the increased interest in it. And I would assume that increased interest is flowing over into interest or what you all do for our annual event, which is the Philosophy Club and Ethics Bowl. And you have an upcoming meet and greet. So tell students about this opportunity.
Yeah. So first of all, if anybody is watching this and if any is clicking or vibing with them, then tomorrow morning at the central campus downtown, it's in the Learning Hub cafeteria. There's a meet and greet for the philosophy professors and students, and really anybody. I mean, anybody can go, even if parents wanted to come and learn a little bit more about what their students are going to go through. But for students, certainly come by and talk to us. There's I don't know how many of us are going to be there. I think there'll be probably at least about 5. But we represent a wide diversity of interests. I do metaphysics, philosophy of religion, and philosophy of artificial intelligence. My colleagues do ethics and history of philosophy and modern philosophy and all sorts of stuff. It should be interesting. But that is part of an event that the Philosophy Club is having. And that's a place where, like any club on campus, students can join. You don't have to be a major or minor. You show up, and there's certain activities they have. It's, I believe, the last Friday of every month, and it's a discussion about some philosophical topic. Could be free will. It could be the presence of evil in the world, or so on and so on. It's a really engaging club, and it's pretty active. Go ahead.
I do have to wrap up, Dan, but it's that intersection of philosophy and ethics and what's going on with artificial intelligence definitely sounds like an intriguing hot topic. Good to know that it is happening, that you all have a schedule throughout semesters every Friday. We've had such an incredible conversation learning more about just the value and importance of focusing on philosophy to grow your skill set. So it's been a pleasure speaking with you. For those who are just joining in, I've been talking to Daniel Flores. He is a philosophy professor at our HCC Northwest College and a former director of the Honors College. We'll have info about not only the program, but also the events that are happening around our Philosophy Club posted after the show. Thank you so much for joining us, Dan.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. All right, Parrish, I'm going to kick it over to you and Lindsay.
Great. I have this pleasure of speaking with Lindsay O'Connor. O'Connor. She is the Director of Education for the San Antonio Museum of Art in our Thursday Family Fun Day guest. Lindsay O'Connor, how are you doing?
Doing very well. Thank you for having me.
It is great to have you on the show. Now, I want to kind of jump into some of the groundbreaking aspects of the Roman landscapes. Can you explain some of those to me?
Sure. Well, first of all, this is really the first opportunity in the United States to see examples of Roman wall paintings. So this work is about 2,000 years old. So we're talking from the 1st century BC through the 3rd century AD. And 2/3 of the works in the exhibition have never traveled outside of Europe before. So these are works that typically you would have to go to Munich, to Paris, to Rome, and of course to Pompeii in the south of Italy to see in person. But we have them right here at the San Antonio Museum of Art. You might not be aware too, but our museum has one of the largest collections of Roman artwork in the South, the largest in Texas. So it's a very special opportunity. We hope that people come catch the show before it closes on May 21st.
Okay. Now, before we get into even a little more specifics, why is the Roman Empire so popular?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. I think that we have so many touch points that connect back to that time period. Thinking about architecture, about language, and certainly a big connection in this show is our relationship with the natural world. This is a time when the Romans are really experiencing a push and pull between cities that are expanding and growing. Again, that empire is spreading across Europe and Asia and Northern Africa. But at the same time, landscapes are sacred. They're the home of the gods. So there's that push and pull between industrialization and the beauty of the natural world, which, I think in rapidly changing cities, that's something that we think about today as well.
Right. Now, how many of the works that you guys have are on loan?
So we have 66 works in the show and about special opportunity to see works in the United States that typically we would need to travel to Europe to see.
Okay, great. Now, let's talk about Pompeii. Now, which course piques everybody's interest? Because, when you talk about Pompeii, that's pretty broad. You can talk about that for days. What is it exactly that is the most popular thing that piques everybody's interest?
Yeah, I think that when we think of Pompeii, you can't talk about this archaeological site without talking about the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. So, of course, famously, we have this preserved snapshot of life in the ancient world. We have cooking pots that were left on stovetops. And in this exhibition, we're going to see examples of wall painting. So how people were decorating their houses, their tombs. We really get to connect with what daily life was like at that time. I think, in some ways, we might not think that we have very many connections with people who lived 2,000 years ago, but there is a very human experience in connecting with these objects and seeing what life was like.
Yeah, it's hard to check your greens when the volcano goes off. Now, why is this exhibition so relevant to visitors and our community?
Yeah, like I mentioned, of course, our relationship with the natural world, that's something that people were thinking about 2,000 years ago. That's certainly something that's on our minds now as we think about industrialization, climate change. We had some really exciting opportunities with this exhibition to connect with local cultural organizations and with the community here in San Antonio. So, for example, we had a tour with the San Antonio River Foundation, thinking about what stewardship of our river looks like today. We also had a program with the San Antonio Botanical Garden, exploring cuisine and cooking and what kind of flavors we have in our own cuisine today and what that looked like in the ancient world. Of course, you really can't think about the landscapes in the ancient world without thinking about hiking in Government Canyon, exploring our beautiful South Texas landscape here today.
Great. And that's a great thing. I had no idea. I knew there were museums there. I remember going to the Wax Museum in San Antonio, but I wasn't aware that you guys had like a real full-blown great museum that showed, ancient architecture and stuff like that. Because when most people think about San Antonio, they think of one thing, and you know what it is, the Riverwalk. And once you're done with that, you're just kind of like, okay, we did San Antonio. So it's wonderful that you guys have that. Now, tell me, what is SAMA doing to connect with the community?
Yes. So like I mentioned, we have had some great opportunities to connect with local organizations that work with the environment, like the San Antonio River Foundation. We also have a really special relationship with Trinity University's Department of Classical Studies. We've had a Lennox seminar in connection with the exhibition, so an opportunity to hear from great scholars from all over the world who study the Roman Empire and think about these objects. We've also connected with UTSA, UT Austin, Cornell University, the San Antonio Public Library. We have a reading list if you are intrigued and want to learn more about the ancient Roman world.
That is great. Now, before we get out of here, why did the Roman Empire fall?
Oh, goodness. That's a big question. Certainly in this exhibition, we can look at environmental incidents like the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. We can also think about that rapid expansion. Big question, something to ponder.
Okay, well, great. Well, Lindsay, thank you so much for being on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, her name is Lindsay O'Connor. She is Director of Education for the San Antonio Museum of Art, and she is our Thursday Family Fun Day guest. We'll have more information on her and her great exhibits at the end of our show in a post. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for being on the show.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Ms. Campbell.
Yes. You're always testing somebody's history right at the end.
You know, but what I do is I don't try to stump anybody. I just kind of ask questions that I would normally ask.
We are both naturally curious. I'm
just curious because you know what? There's so many movies that you see about the Roman Empire. There's so many things that people make relevant, from that time frame. I was just kind of curious, like, why are we not walking around still wearing robes, Yeah,
it's definitely a very sensationalized era in the context of like entertainment. We have a vision for what we think the Roman Empire was, just like from Hollywood in general. It's definitely one of those times that often get what's the word, dramatized, that I was looking for through media. Oh, well, I didn't even try to do that. But speaking of drama, we're gonna kick to our first announcement. The Hairy Ape is our spring drama production. Here, the American dream is a dehumanizing nightmare of violence and intense shadow puppetry in a cultural landscape that shows how one man, a cog in society's machine, feels he can't really make a difference. This masterwork shows the 1920s are not that different from the 2020s. And this show, The Hairy Ape, will be happening at 7:30 p.m. tonight through Saturday and Monday, April 24th, all free. So again, it's happening tonight through Saturday and Monday, April 24th at 7:30 p.m. at our HCC Spring Branch campuses Performing Arts Center. Just a caution warning, The Hairy Ape does contain adult language and situation. Registration is encouraged and the venue has limited seating, and details will be posted after the show.
Sade, we are all cogs in the machine, are we not?
I felt that a little, just to go off topic. I think everyone at some point of what's going on feels that they really can't make a difference, but we can't let apathy set in.
No, not at all. We have a system-wide juried student exhibition. It happens in the spring. This district-wide in-person exhibition features art studio students who will be juried for awards in printmaking, drawing, painting, watercolors, 2D and 3D design, ceramics, sculpture life drawings, as well as art medals, actually digital art as well, and also photography. Now, we'll feature other campuses in the days to come. This particular exhibition happens Monday, April the 24th through May the 5th at HCC Central Fine Arts Center Gallery. And it is my favorite price. It is absolutely FREE free. Now, the reception and awards will be from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. Thursday, April the 27th. Registration is not required for this event at the gallery. Everyone is welcome.
Awesome. Well, the countdown is on to our Student Success Summit here at Houston Community College. The annual Student Success Summit is a chance for our faculty and our staff to connect, collaborate, and learn about best practices for how we serve all students. It's a 2-day event, or technically a day and a half. It'll be happening from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday, April 24th, and from 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Tuesday, April 25th. It'll be happening at our HCC West Houston Institute. And come on now, you may see a little special guest emceeing or something on the first day. And check out the post after the show for details on how to register and join us.
Get your dancing shoes ready. The Central Dance Concert happens. The Central Dance Concert will be happening for spring 2023. It's time for the annual concert of dance works from faculty and guest artists, all under the direction of HCC's dance coordinator, Maggie Lasher. It happens 7:30 p.m. Thursday and Friday, April the 27th and April the 28th at the HCC Central Heen Theater. Check our post in the show for registration information.
All right, calling all future HCC Eagles. Starting your education journey can be a bit intimidating, can seem like you don't know what next step to take. So HCC is here to help with virtual information sessions happening twice a month to get you ready to enroll in time for summer and fall classes. HCC admissions advisors will help students apply, secure eligible financial aid, decide on education and career pathways, and connect with all of our student support services. Be sure to check the post after the show for more details on how to register.
All registration is open. Can you believe that? Yes, fall registration has now begun, but you can still register for the summer. So hurry if you want to secure your course, your professor, and your location. All classes offer in-person and online options, usual suspects, online anytime, online on a schedule, hybrid in-person, or hybrid lab. Learn more about HCC programs, start dates, and options to cover costs. You can go to hccs.edu/apply. That is hccs.edu/apply. Coming up, Miss Campbell.
Yes. Well, tomorrow is Film Friday, so you definitely don't want to miss that. And next week, we'll have Courtney Smith from HCC's Creative Writing Club here to talk about the upcoming Vocable celebration to announce its winners from a recent competition. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of Up to the Minute. We'll see you next time.